Hi, I'm Michelle from Morley Library, Adult and Teen Services. And today is a cold and dreary day outside. It's just the kind of day that you like to curl up with a cozy mystery, a cup of tea, maybe a warm cat or dog by your side. So today I'm going to share with you two of my favorite series, cozy mystery series. The first in the series is by Caitlin Dunnett. She writes about Liz McCrimmon and her Scottish Emporium in the little town of Moose Took a Look, somewhere in New England. She's not specific. This little town is filled with New England characters and culture and flavor, and there's always a murder that Liz somehow gets involved in. She tries to avoid it, but she always gets roped in to helping solve the murder. The police don't like it, and she gets in trouble for it, but she always ends up part of it. This is a series favorite with me. Like I said, there are 13 books so far. Actually, there's a 14th book in process. And each book, you learn a little more about Liz. She was a Scottish dancer. She's originally from Moose Took a Look, but she got injured and she had to return home, and she took over the Scottish Emporium that her family has run for a very long time in this old New England town. I feel like I'm connected to her, like she's a long-term friend of mine, and it's always interesting to see what happens next. Her love life, her mom and dad, her aunt that used to run the Emporium. Lots and lots of things in these books just draw you in and make you feel comfortable and like you know these people. Most of her characters in her book are really charming until they commit murder. But other than that, it sounds like a great place to live. Liz is married, but she didn't start out married, so you have to go to the first books and find out what ensued. She has a cat, and she sometimes takes care of her aunt's two Scotties, Scottish Terriers, of course. And they all figure in helping to solve the murders. In fact, the Scotties were kidnapped in one of the books. So this is just a fun series, and I like it a lot because it seems really credible to me. Doesn't seem outlandish. So that's the first series. The second series is by Laura Childs, and it's really one of the very first series I started with. Laura Childs writes the Theodosia Browning Tea Shop mysteries, and this mystery series, I can't wait for every new book, and I actually like it so much I buy it. So there are 23 in this series. I've read 22. And Theodosia lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and she runs the Indigo Tea Shop with Haley, her cook, Drayton Connolly, her tea sommelier. This is a man who bought teas for different companies and knows everything about teas. Theo was previously in advertising, and she got tired of the rat race, so she decided to move back to Charleston and open a tea shop and live a charming little life. Unfortunately, she always gets involved in a murder. Her characters are wonderful. Her cousin, Delane Dish, couldn't remember her name, Delane Dish. Drayton is just an exquisite Southern gentleman with his bow ties and his seersucker suits. But really a lot of what draws you into her books are not just her characters, but the character of Charleston, South Carolina. It is so wonderfully painted in these books. Theo runs with her dog Earl Grey, and she usually runs down to the harbor, to the park where you can pull in your boat, and she talks about the smell of the sea, or if a storm is coming up, she talks about how it feels, and she gives so much history and explains the buildings she's passing, the churches, the graveyards. And Theo is always involved in a murder, even if she doesn't want to be involved in the murder. But the town that she lives in, the old part of Charleston, South Carolina, so she's always drawn into these murders of close by shopkeepers, or they happen at an event she's planning and running. But they're, again, the kind of stories that you feel like you're meeting old friends again. Oh, it's good to talk to you. What's been going on? So I just love these types of books that you develop a relationship with the characters. And in these books also, her stories are very believable. I don't ever feel that I couldn't believe that this really happened. And I love them so much I want to live next door to her, but it could be bad for my health because her neighbors frequently are murdered. So she's always turning over the neighbors. These two series, many of the books in the series, are available at Morley Library, and we can reserve them for you if they're not in our stacks. And I hope that you'll join me today by relaxing with a cup of tea by the fire and a new book. Have a great day, and thank you for being here.